Hey, what's up, guys? Charles Vamadeva here again with SoCal Veteran Spotlight in the Military Homebuyer today. I got two special guests. Today is Veterans Day.
That's
and
right.
I've got here Stephen Shearrill, Chief in the Navy, 16 years.
Yes.
Thank you for your service, sir, and also a realtor with eXp Realty.
Yes.
And welcome. And then Daron Campbell.
Yes,
I don't even know how to choose you, man. Author, coach, entrepreneur, apartment building superstar, and you drove all the way down from Beverly Hills today.
Yes, sir. Just to be here with you guys.
Thank you for joining us.
My
And so
pleasure.
we're talking about a really hot topic, which is, and I quote, is home ownership still within reach?
Yes.
In
It
a
is?
word, yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because I got to tell you, here in Southern California, we see a lot of folks that just can't afford it.
It's a challenging environment because prices have gone up. So I did a study last year, and prices had gone up for 111 straight months in LA County. And so it has priced a lot of people out. The last affordability index I read said that the affordability index was at 26.4%, meaning only 26.4% of the people in LA County could afford a home. Now,
Amazing.
the thing about that is that it combines the people who think they can afford a home and the people, I mean, there are many people who don't think they can afford a home who actually can. And what we like to have fun doing is helping people buy a home who might not have otherwise thought they could.
Right. Reversing it around. In other words, they're surprised to find out, hey, I can really afford that.
That's right. Especially with you.
Thank you for the plug.
Right?
Sandy, you're in LA predominantly,
Yes.
right? Now you're serving in San Diego, so you know that community really well.
Yeah, San Diego, Temecula, Riverside area.
Riverside County. What are you seeing in San Diego and up here Temecula area? Affordability? Are people able to really buy what they want to buy?
Yes, it's just people just got to think outside the box and just realize all the opportunities and financing tools that's available.
Derek, what do you say to the person that's got a rent payment, not a whole lot different to a home mortgage payment, and yet they don't want to buy or they don't pull the trigger to buy? What's up with that? What do you say to that person?
It's amazing. I actually talked about this on my show last week. I'm glad you brought that up. We did a quick analysis and we looked at average rents in Los Angeles, and they've shot up, obviously. But we stepped back and I announced to people, I said, look, if you're paying $1,800 or more per month in rent, you can service approximately a $400,000 mortgage. And with today's rates, and you obviously know this kind of thing better than I do, but the fact is, a lot of people, when I said that, about 80 people said, are you kidding? What? I didn't know. And then I said, do you also know that there are opportunities for you to purchase a home with 3%, 5% down payments? Those exist. And people are like, what? I can't. So I think a lot of it is lack of knowledge. I don't want to call it ignorance, but it's lack of awareness about some of the products that are out there, about some of the affordability. I mean, Southern California is expensive, granted that. However, there are lanes, there are areas, there are places where you can go and get that starter home.
I like what you're saying.
Absolutely.
If I can piggyback on what you're saying,
Sure.
what I tell a lot of my clients is it's not so much about buying the home, buy a home.
Correct.
Right, because, I mean, it's like your car. You're not going to go out there and necessarily buy the car of your dreams your very first time,
That's
right?
right.
You're going to build up to it. People want to, I don't know if it's a culture that we're in, people want to buy the home of their dreams right off the bat instead of buying a home that may not have everything they really want, but it gets them on that process, that conveyor belt to equity and wealth.
And wealth, yeah.
How do we communicate that? That seems so foreign.
Well, I have to use stories. You have to give people a success story. So I just told a story the other day about a young lady who, young professional, making a decent living. She wanted to own something. She said, my dad always said, you got to own. So we found her a starter condo. It's just a condo, starter for $350,000. We got her in. She could afford it. It made sense. And she goes, obviously it's not the home of my dreams. I go, well, obviously it's not, but you're not ready for the home of your dreams. Let's start you somewhere. So this was just under 2 years ago. So she bought that condo for $350,000. Actually, a little bit less than $350,000. Flash forward almost 2 years. We just got it appraised.
For $480 or $380?
No, $460,000.
Sheesh.
Okay, so you see,
amazing.
it's the best savings account she will ever have. And so people don't understand. It's to take the baby step and watch it grow. People always say, you guys probably heard the saying, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait.
That's awesome. I like what you're saying. So basically, get into something.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Whatever you can afford and whatever you can be qualified for. I see a lot of people that we pre-qualify, for a home loan, whether it's FHA, VA, conventional, whatever, and their husband or wife, they're like, no, that's not going to do it for us. We're just going to wait. Right? We're going to wait. And then a couple of years later, those prices have gone up. Whereas if they got in and got into a home that may not have been
That price would be locked in.
Exactly. Now they built that equity like that client of yours.
Exactly. She made $100,000 just for living there.
What are we doing wrong? We're not teaching people enough. I mean, there's not enough information out there to help people look at things from that perspective.
And then a lot of people are, again, I believe I run into people who get miseducation. Mm-hmm. So just last week when I posted a picture of the couple that you just serviced with your loan.
Josh.
I had a client, I had his friend hit me up and said, hey, I live in, I think it was around San Francisco area. And he said, me and my wife, we were trying to purchase a home. Yeah. But we were told that the home that we do want, they do qualify income-wise, but because of them trying to utilize their VA benefits and their county limits for that area, they were told that they need to come out the difference, which is $300,000. So, but they were miseducated because they wasn't told about the VA jumbo portion, which is 25% of the difference, not the whole difference. Not the whole difference. Yeah. And then he was like, wow, nobody ever told me that. This guy, he said a lender told him that he had paid the difference. Right. So now he's letting all that information marinating inside his head, and he's like, wow, this is more of a reality than I thought. Yeah, and the good news is, because we're recording this in November of 2019, here in about a month and a half, that restriction with VA is going to go away. That's right. In 2020. What is more common? Is it people not having the resources to buy, or is it people just not having the information? What do you run across the most?
I think it's the information. I think I think people many times have more resources than they know, and many times, I think people there's a lot of people have this interesting guilt. They don't feel like they're good savers, and so they feel like, well, if I don't have this big chunky down payment, then I really can't buy a house. And then there's this thing about, well, I might have this little ding on my credit or that little thing, and they don't necessarily want you to know about it. There's like this interesting shame that's out there, and I say, hey, look, don't be ashamed. Let's lay it all out on the table, and we'll work backwards. Let's see what you do qualify for, and we'll back you into the property that makes sense.
Very smart. I like what you're saying. What do you got to say to that? Is it more information that they're lacking? Like you said earlier, I didn't know I could do this.
I agree with Daron completely with this. A lot of people don't understand that home affordability is feasible. If they're paying, there's plenty of people. San Diego, prime example. Yeah. You got people paying over $2,800 a month for a two bedroom apartment. Yeah. But then they say, I can't buy a home. Yes, you can. Or I have this hiccup on my credit score. Hey, be transparent, be open, be fluid with me, so that I can know, so that I can direct you to the resource that can help you repair that. It's like prime example, Charles Vamadeva again. This guy can work magic.
Well, and I like what you're saying, because a credit score, if we kind of go down that road about credit reports and credit profile, is really a snapshot of your credit in a moment of time. Yeah. That is not the label we're going to put on you, like, that's it, that's who you are. You're not going to buy that house ever.
That's not the full story.
That's that moment in time. So if a score is there, it's not permanent. Right. Some things can be done to raise your score and improve your credit profile. The problem is people tend to look at that score at that moment. They're like, oh, I can't do it. I can't buy a house. Right. Forget about the whole topic, move on. Whereas if they begin to repair at that moment, which is not very exciting, right? Right. It's not an exciting process. Right. But they begin to repair with home ownership in mind. 6 months, 12 months down the road, they could be getting into a home.
Absolutely. And there's something else I'd like to add to that as well. Mm-hmm. So, some people may have a false illusion when they look at their free credit report, or look at what's the free creditkarma.com and whatnot. They get that little snapshot, but then lenders like yourself, you guys pull your own credit report, and it can reflect completely different to what's reported there, and what's there may be discouraging, but when you actually pull your report, you're like, oh, I can actually work with this. Right. You're good.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Don't disqualify yourself.
I have an interesting question for you, gentlemen. So I've heard and seen a lot of reports recently that the millennial community, they're not so big on home ownership like the folks from 20, 30 years ago when we were all growing up
Yep.
that are now in their 40s and 50s. They're like, I don't really care to own a home, right? I want to have my business. I want to travel. I want to do this. I want to do that. What's up with that? What do you say to that?
I think that's a major case of denial and misinformation. So,
Wow. Ouch.
It's a fact. I have observed it, and I study this.
You're going to get stoned here in a minute. Somebody's going to throw some rocks.
I think it's a big case of denial, and I think millennials in a lot of cases have been scarred by what they witnessed. You see, the American dream was to own a home for their parents and their grandparents. Everybody post-war USA had the American dream. I'm going to own a home, right? And we went through a couple of periods of time, and if you track this, you look to see these millennials were teenagers and or growing and matriculating, and they watched recession happen, and they watched 4 million homes got foreclosed on during the last recession, and a lot of people feel sort of burned by like the American dream sort of betrayed some of their parents, some of their grandparents, where like that was no longer going to be a sure shot to financial stability. And when the shine kind of came off, I think a lot of them decided, well, look, I'm going to do my startup, I'm going to do my JV, I'm going to make my fortune some other way, and it has pushed a lot of them out of the mindset of the single greatest wealth building thing on planet Earth.
Wow.
The number one asset class in the history of planet Earth is real estate.
Right.
And the ownership of it.
And yet this younger generation is kind of running away from it.
Yeah.
What are you seeing with, you rub shoulders every day with younger active duty service members in the Navy, and what are these guys and girls thinking about home ownership, particularly if they're only out here at this duty station for 3-4 years? What's the mindset?
So a lot, excuse me. So the mindset of a lot of people, they feel, I'm going to be here for X amount of time, so there's no reason for me to settle down. But guess what you cannot replace? Time. Time and opportunity. So if this is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have a home right now at this price, then guess what? If you hold on to it for the duration of your duty station, your tour, guess what? You're building equity. So if they're at the Navy, the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, if they're paying you a tax-free living allowance that you're wasting and paying somebody else rent, you should be using that. A wise person will use that to build something that can be longevity and build generational wealth.
Is it a commitment problem? Is our millennial community afraid of the commitment? You're signing those closing docs for a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
In their mind, I'm committed to this.
They do it all the time when people do 5, 6, 7-year commitments to cars all the time. So what's the big deal? And then guess what? You still can do a divorce from your house. It's called selling the house.
It's true. And then what I like to just let them know is you're paying a mortgage. Whether it's yours or not is your choice.
Good point.
You're paying someone's mortgage. And that's whether you be an apartment dweller or a homeowner. And so I launched this thing. He knows about it. This thing I call the real estate revolution.
Nice.
Right? And so I'm the president of Apartment Sales Group in Los Angeles. And we invest in apartment buildings, right? But I see the chronic problem of people never owning a home. So this real estate revolution that I'm the general of, the self-proclaimed general of, is to get 5,000 renters into their own home over the next 5 years.
5,000.
5,000. Nobody ever said I wasn't ambitious, right? But the fact is, I think what people don't realize, kind of like the young lady I told you about, owning a piece of real estate is going to be the greatest savings account that most people ever will have. And if you don't participate, you're going to watch it go by. I just told you a little earlier, values went up for 111 straight months. So all you had to do was own and sustain, and you made that money. And if you didn't, you watched everybody else make that money. And if you paid your rent, you serviced somebody else's mortgage while they made that money.
That's awesome. Good points. What advice, in closing here, what advice would you give someone that's watching this that's like on the fence? Yeah, maybe I should buy a house. They've got income. Maybe they've got reasonable credit. They're not, spectacular. Maybe they don't have any money or very little money, which is common. What advice have you got to that person in a nutshell?
My advice to everybody will be just to get educated, talk to a professional so that you don't disqualify yourself. You wait for that no for somebody else, and if they do give you a no, you go find a way to overcome that no. So if you have something bad on your credit, if you don't have a steady income or anything like that, you identify your problems so that you can overcome them.
That's good.
And
good.
something cool somebody just told me recently. It was a great analogy.
Yeah.
She said, you ask people, well, how far ahead of time would you plan a wedding? And I'm thinking to myself, people plan for a wedding for about a year and a half, sometimes 2 years, right? Well, she said, plan your home ownership the same way.
That's phenomenal.
If it takes you a year, if it takes you 2 years, so what? It's still worth the undertaking.
It's a worth prize to have.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Gentlemen, you've given some good insight here. Thank you.
Pleasure.
That's a great topic, huh? Hopefully some people are watching these that are starting to turn in their thinking.
Take note, people. Take note.
Right. It can be done, right? It can be
Absolutely.
done.
That's right.
And whether you're starting out with a $150,000 home in Hemet or $1 million something or other down the street from Mr. Campbell here, you get in, right? Get in somewhere.
Absolutely.
Start now.
Yeah, change your dialogue. Don't ask, can I? Ask, how can I?
And if I may add real quick, with the veteran community, especially with your knee-deep in that community, 100% financing.
Come on!
I know.
What's up with the excuses? No money down. Typically, all the closing costs are paid.
Compare yourself to your civilian counterparts that's going through the conventional or going through a FHA or wherever where they got to put property mortgage insurance associated with their loan. Veterans, active duty, that's not the case. You got the steady income, you got the tax-free living allowance. That's working towards your favor. So it's your mindset. Change your mindset up, apply it, and use that to grow equity.
Yes.
Have something where you can grow your family, raise your family in a safe place, and then guess what? Hold on to it for a good duration of time so that you can grow. That equity can build generational wealth. And then guess what? For people that can't invest or anything like that, they say, I don't have this type of money or all this type of other stuff. So if they take those baby steps early in life, they can refinance, they can pull out some of their equity, and guess what they can do? They can go multiply that by purchasing another property and reaping the tax benefits, become landlords, and open up a whole new avenue.
A whole portfolio of real estate.
By just taking that initial step and leveraging the benefits that's available to them.
Yeah.
So that's how it essentially rise to riches for veterans.
That's awesome. Thank you for the good words, both
Yes.
of you. How do they get a hold of you? We're going to put the number up on the screen. How do they,
Absolutely.
how do they get a hold of you?
I can be reached at 818-521-0083. Daron at DaronCampbell.com, or you can just go to DaronCampbell.com and check me out.
Awesome. Thank you for your input today. Awesome.
My pleasure.
Stephen, how do they get a hold of you?
All right, my phone number is 619-368-7141. My website is mytemecularealestateconcierge.com, but for people who can't spell that so well,
That's a lot.
Hey, just feel free to send me a text message or call me, and yeah, I'm available for you guys all the time.
Thank you both. You guys are watching this. You watched another episode of SoCal Veteran Spotlight, militaryhomebuyertoday.com. We'll see you on the next one.
Network.